What is up, people? It is Mew Monster 58 and welcome to my new Let's Play of Monster Hunter World, including Iceborne. This is a Let's Play I have been working on for the past several years to be able to bring to you guys in a timely manner. That there's a lot of things that happened within those few years that had caused this Let's Play to get setbacks, but I really want this to be a not super informative, but informative in the way of helping out new players, because I've played Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter World Iceborne for nearly 1,000 hours. Now, that doesn't mean I'm good at the game, that just means I played a lot of it. Just because you play a lot of a game doesn't necessarily mean you're good at it. There's still stuff I'm learning today about this game that I actually didn't know, but I really want to bring this to you guys because this is one of my favorite video games of all time. Now, this Let's Play will not only include the base game of Monster Hunter World, but will also include Iceborne. There will be a lot of things that we'll get into within the first episode, and so this will be a quite long episode, but I promise you what I'll try to do over the course of this Let's Play is try to condense as much as I can. But again, I want this to be an expression of my love for this game, you know, why I love this game so much, and, you know, everything in between. The last thing that I'd like to add when it comes to this Let's Play's release date is specifically looking at the date is March 11th, 2024. For those of you who don't know, I decided to look this up rather recently, and it so happens to be that 20 years ago to the exact same day, Monster Hunter was first released in Japan. The very first Monster Hunter game was ever released in Japan on March 11th, 2004, so I felt that March 11th, 2024 would be an absolute perfect day for this Let's Play's release, and I hope you guys can appreciate that. Now, back to the video. Another thing I'd like to point out with this Let's Play is when it comes to this Let's Play, I don't know everything, like I stated. So if there are mistakes, if I'm saying things, you know, that aren't correct, you know, if I'm doing a bunch of wrong things, or you guys think you can give me extra tips, tricks, anything like that, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Just don't be snotty about it. That's all I ask. Just don't be snotty about it. But at the end of the day, I definitely would appreciate any tips, tricks, anything along those lines. That would be absolutely fantastic to have alongside this Let's Play. So yeah, without further ado, guys, let's hop right into it.
Sisters and brothers of the Fifth Fleet, it's time. I'll keep my farewell brief. Never was much with words. Once you board this ship, there's no turning back. The next ground your feet will touch will be that of the New World. If any of you have lost your nerve, then step away now, and let no one judge you. Very well. Then sail safe and strong, and may the Sapphire Star light your way.
Yo, did you hear? We're almost there. You ready to grab this new world by the horns? Don't know about you, but it feels like ages since I left home to join the commission. So, nervous? Believe you me, I get it. Anything could happen to us, but hey, that's happened.
Hey, aren't you one of the A-list hunters?
What? No way! So are we! Hey! Tell us your name!
Alrighty folks, welcome to the very robust character creator. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this. I'm going to just basically go and create my character as well as what is known as a palico, which is your partner as a cat. So you get to create both your character as, you know, your character here, as well as a partner palico. Now I'll explain what palicos do as we get into the game, but I'd like to credit two major sites that definitely helped me when it comes to researching this game, both of the wikis, so the fandom wiki as well as the Fextra Life, the Monster Hunter World, the official wiki. Those two, I pulled a lot of information from that, so please, I'll always leave links in the description to both of those wikis, because those were the wikis that really helped me sort of understand a lot of the, help me understand the deep intricacies of this game. In addition to that, part of this Let's Plays, my major reason for also doing this Let's Play is because of the popularity of World after its announcement, Capcom's announcement of Monster Hunter Rise, which releases in 2025. This game has seen a massive resurgence in popularity, so I hope that for new players, I hope that this will serve as a stepping stone guide playthrough for you guys to enjoy, and also learn a few things. Again, I'm not the most expert at anything when it comes to this game, so please, I hope you guys do enjoy it for both some of the informative aspect as well as some of the, fun aspects of it, as well as just learning as you go and playing along with me. So I hope if you guys can also play along with me. But without further ado, I'm going to create my character and I'll meet you guys after that.
So, how about a toast?
To the A-list! And the commission!
Cheers!
So, tell me, what's your theory? The Elder Dragons must migrate to the New World for some reason. After running the research commission for 40-odd years, the Guild's itching for an answer. They say the Fifth Fleet's got the best shot at cracking this case, and I agree!
Keep it down. Hey, speaking of, A-listers usually operate in teams of 2. Have you sat down with your partner yet? Listen to that. Getting rough out there. The waves are picking up. And that's gotta mean landfall. You're on the A-list, right? Huh. Meowdy-do. I'm not psychic, but I do have pretty good ears. Ah, put her there. I happen to be an A-lister myself. Huh?
Alrighty, welcome to the gameplay. So I'm on controller. They'll obviously
Anybody there?
give you certain controls if you're playing on mouse and keyboard, so that is obviously a possibility. We're just going to climb up this wall here and we'll keep it going.
It's you! Look what happened to the ship! We have to do something! It's not safe here! This way! We need to get out of here! I've got an idea! This way! Watch yourself!
So the ship's in a pretty bad spot, huh? Well, we're going to keep climbing here on whatever this is, so we're just going to keep going. Watch out for these rocks that might absolutely annihilate you when you're climbing up this thing. We'll just keep climbing, we'll just climb right through her.
Hurry!
This game isn't perfect, but ow. This game isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's damn near perfect.
Why guys? I didn't think my first encounter would be filled with so much packing. Shoot! No, the ground's moving again. We're on. I knew it.
Looks like we're on top of a giant monster, aren't we?
Survive and get off this thing. Come on, let's go. Get a good running start, then jump. The new world. Huh? No.
So welcome to the new world, folks.
I found this in the tent. It has a map in it. Well, part of one at least. Looks like we're right around here. The Research Commission's base of operations is here. This is where our ship was supposed to dock. For now, I think it would be best if we make our way to base. The map should help us find our way.
So fair warning, this episode will be fully, there'll be a lot of tutorials, there'll be a lot of cutscenes, so my commentary will be limited until we get further along in this part of the game. But folks, welcome to the new world. It's really pretty. Even, 2024, this game still looks fantastic. It does look dated to an extent, but still looks great. But the ancient forest, our first major area in the game.
Research Commission's headquarters. Come on, let's get going.
Alright, and so let's move. So we got some creatures here. Very Stegosaurus looking. Very, very pretty. Well, I wouldn't necessarily call them pretty, but...
To get to HQ, we need to...
Looks like that part's blocked off. So we'll have to go this way, aren't we?
These Aptonoths seem every bit as docile as the ones back home.
So these Aptonoth, these will become useful for a very minor mechanic, but...
Looks like we need to go around.
Just understand that they are not hostile. They will actually not attack you unless provoked, and even when they are fairly weak creatures besides that, but they are very cool.
I memorized my scent earlier. If you lose sight of me, just follow the scout flies, and they'll lead you right to me.
Well, don't worry, I ain't losing sight of you.
We can push our way through these vines. Easy there. Don't pick a fight if you don't have a weapon. We need to hide. Come on, this way. Hurry! Quietly. Okay, the coast is clear. Let's get going while we still can.
So, those are the first hostile creatures that we have encountered. We'll get into them in a little bit here. So I'll refrain from necessarily explaining them for the time being. But they are the first ones, and yes, that is a mechanic in the game. If you are being attacked by monsters, large or small,
Nothing can stop us.
a good decent amount of the time, by hiding in bushes like that, you will be able to hide yourself from monsters and they will disengage from you. But obviously in combat with an even bigger creature, that's usually not the best way to disengage from them, so...
What is this track? Look! There's more over there. Let's check it out.
Don't mind me. This way, hurry.
Okay, let's go.
Move.
Alright, looks like we're in peril. We better run, better run. Let's go, let's go. That crazy big yellow thing, big creature thingamabobber. Attack the handler. Oh my. And we got big pink T-Rex right here, right? Oh, you gotta get around this guy, get behind him, and we are through. Barely.
Come on!
Jump! Hey,
You all right?
let's go.
Okay. Wow.
Amazing, ain't it? Just look at this gate. It's like nature meant for us to build a stair right here.
Stara. I like it.
The rest of the Fifth are already here. You're the last to arrive. Okay, set him down here. Take it
Leave
nice
the
and
tape off your shoulder. Hold still for a bit.
Hey, you guys made it.
Be right back. You're alive.
Had it rough, huh? When we couldn't find you two, we were starting to sweat bullets.
You scared us. We were talking about going out to look for you.
All's well that ends well.
Hey, we need a hand. Sorry.
Come on.
Catch you later. This here's our trade yard. I guess the name says it all.
Look at all the people. The stuff.
Incredible, right? We've got it all here. We've got hunters to do all the exploring, scholars to do the research, technicians to keep them going. This place is the beating heart of the Commission. Wait here a sec. Commander, I found him.
Welcome to Astera.
Welcome to Astera. I'm glad you made it. Somehow I knew you would, though. When you've been in command as long as I have, you start to learn who's capable and who isn't. Now, as much as I'd like to get you up to speed, I'm being pulled in about 8 different directions at once. We'll cover the important matters at Council, which I'll be convening once things settle down. I expect you to be there, of course.
Reputations precede you.
The Guild spoke highly of you as individuals. Think of what you can do as a team. And before I forget, your furry friend was looking for you. Poor thing was washed up not too long ago. Go ahead and have a look around Astera. A horn will sound when it's time for Council.
Well, off you go.
Okay, I'll give you the grand tour. Let's start by looking for your palico. This is our stockpile. They carry most of the basic necessities.
You should drop by later to see what they have.
Next is the smithy. It's this way.
Astera's a
Over here.
pretty awesome place. So yeah, this is the main hub world of the entire game. This is where you'll come to do pretty much everything that isn't in a hunt. So I'll be explaining things once we get out of this tutorial part.
Fifth Fleet, right? The old man in charge, my grandfather, was with the first. That was a long time ago. Me, not with any fleet. Born and bred right here. Never even been to the old world.
So yeah, we'll get into explaining things once we get out of this, because there's a lot to explain, and there's also a lot for me to also talk about that I'd like to address.
Here's our smithy. This is where you can craft weapons and armor. You'll be here a lot.
Wow! Look at this place. Want to check it out? Ooh, it's toasty in here.
Very, very cool area, and
Next
yes,
up is the canteen. Let's check it out.
we will definitely be here a lot.
Want to get going?
The canteen? I am so there.
Over here. This here's our canteen.
Hey, over there. Hey, you! Aw. I knew you'd pull through.
Right. We're calling for a council. Come on.
Yeah.
Now that you are all here, let us begin council. After tracking a migrating elder dragon across the sea, the Fifth Fleet have finally arrived in Astera. Give them a warm welcome. They're a fine group, worthy comrades who will help see the Research Commission's long efforts finally rewarded. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, sir. We're ready to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty.
This here is the Commission's core team. You should all get to know each other.
Looking forward to it.
Now, down to business. The latest monster to make the Elder Crossing is known as Zora Magdaros, a huge monster with a mountain of fire upon its back. The Research Commission's job is to discover exactly why the Elder Dragons are migrating to the New World.
Elder dragons have been with us since the dawn of time. Altering the ecosystem, reshaping the land, leaving disaster in their wake. Once every decade or so, they flock to this continent. But for what reason?
With the Fifth's help, we will find the missing link.
Here, here.
Now we're talking!
Hunters, for the time being, I need you to focus on investigating our Jagras problem and securing Astera. Start by investigating the Jagras' habitat. Find out what makes them tick, and we'll go from there.
Right. We're on it, sir.
Everyone else, you know the drill. Make sure these hunters have everything they need.
Now we're talking!
You two, make it a priority to learn how we do things around here. You'll find good teachers, so don't be afraid to ask.
You heard him. Stick with me and you'll have no problems.
The Fifth's banner promises a change in the wind. It's your job to fulfill that promise. All right, dismissed.
Not even here a whole day and already got our first mission. You really are ready to get your hands dirty. Well, let's go look into this Jagras problem, but you'll need a weapon first. There's a box full of equipment you can use in your quarters. Come on, I'll show you the way. Alrighty, so we are really getting into this, and again, there'll be a lot of explanation here, so I definitely apologize for this being
Inside
long.
your room so you can grab yourself a weapon. We've placed some basic gear for you in that equipment box. Make sure to choose a weapon that suits you.
So, your room is, well, your room. You can decorate it and upgrade it throughout the game, but we'll obviously discuss that later. You can access and change all of your equipment for both yourself as well as, guess what? Your Palico. If you talk to this Palico here, there's a number of things that you can do. There are some mechanics that are currently locked, and we'll unlock them as we progress through the game, so they'll be addressed as they become unlocked. The major mechanic to note of right now is what we're going to be called the training area. This area will allow you to test the weapons that you've made or that you currently currently have. You can switch them easily anytime by going up to this chest here, which the field team leader is asking us to pick a weapon out of. So, going to change our equipment. Like this tutorial says, there are different weapons that offer different combat experiences. There are currently 14 different types of weapons that you can play in Monster Hunter World. Now, when it comes to weapons, it's really just, honestly, personal preference. Because unfortunately, when it comes to you actually choosing a weapon, at the end of the day, every weapon in this game is designed for you to be able to go through the entire game while using any specific weapon that you would choose. So, depending on which playstyle that you have, you can choose any of the 14 weapons. For example, in this tutorial, they're talking about great swords will hit with devastating force, the sword and shield, quick mobile flurries, the heavy bowgun, fires powerful blasts, and so on. So, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to talk about each of the weapons very briefly. Now, I haven't touched any of all of the weapons at all. Let's make that perfectly clear. But I want to give you guys an idea of what you're going to be getting into, because I still have a general idea of what every weapon does. It's just that some of them I've never actually used. Sorry about the cut there, but got briefly interrupted by my bladder, so just had to use the bathroom real quick. But getting back into weapons, yeah, I'm going to be explaining each and every one of these to an extent so you guys can choose. And the reason I'm going to be explaining is because, unfortunately, a bad part about this game, despite all of the praise that I will give it, is text tutorials. And with a game titled Monster Hunter, a lot of people don't want to sit through tutorials for a gazillion years. They do have movies and everything like that, which is cool, but I think it's better if I go ahead and explain some things to you. In addition, armor sets are comprised of 5 pieces, so you have armor throughout the game. Each piece offers some defense plus equipment skills. You can mix and match pieces however you like to for your playstyle. You can hit the left trigger or right trigger, different controls on PC to look at your stats and skills. And again, we'll explain this as we're going forward. You can save equipment loadouts to quickly switch to your favorite gear combination. So, let's get into weapon type. So, looking at all the weapons, let's go right down the row. So when it comes to weapons, they're made with the idea that you harvest or acquire materials from monsters you hunt and then forge them as materials into powerful weapons to take on the most powerful monster you can. This process repeats over and over again. Weapons can be augmented, but it doesn't really matter until much later in the game, so that will be addressed at a later time. They have a raw physical damage, which conflicts with a monster's defense stats. Many weapons also have elemental damage, which is calculated against a monster's elemental resistance. This bar here represents sharpness. Sharpness denotes the levels of armor plating through which the weapon can hit through. Sharpness has 7 levels. These are denoted from red all the way to purple in the latest stages of the game. To explain how this works a bit further, for example, weapons below a certain level of sharpness, let's say green or yellow here as the highest sharpness for this greatsword that we can see here, will not be able to hit a monster for much damage and will what is called plink off a monster, indicating the skin or armor plating is too tough for said weapon to pierce. Affinity basically denotes the idea of having a percentage chance of a damage bonus or damage penalty on all of your attacks. Positive affinity includes a percentage chance of a bonus, while negative affinity denotes a percentage of a negative damage penalty. Zero affinity means neither a bonus or penalty is applied. In this regard, some weapons, like those who have negative affinity, may trade a lack of affinity for higher raw physical damage, and vice versa for weapons with higher affinity but lower raw physical damage. Part of your incentive with hunting monsters is to acquire specific materials, and to acquire certain ones, you need to hunt monsters in different ways. So for example, some monsters have horns or tails you can sever, but focusing on either or both of these areas depending on the monster, your end of hunt yields can be different depending on which area of the monster you hit the most. I'm no expert in weapons like I mentioned. In fact, I haven't used every weapon. I have 5 weapons I feel I'm decent at using and 2 that I'm currently sort of learning. Therefore, I'm going to send you guys to a weapons guide that I used by RX Gaming. They made some amazing guides for each weapon in depth and chucked them into one playlist. That will be linked below. Big ups to RX Gaming for making those. However, I do have a general idea of how each weapon works, thus I'll rapid fire through each weapon and give you an idea of what they do. You can then make a decision for yourself which ones to use. Each weapon, like I mentioned, is designed so that you go through the entire game using it, just upgrading it as you go or making different versions of it. Now, that doesn't mean some weapons are generally better than others or overall in specific situations, or that certain weapons do more damage than others overall. I'm just saying that you can use whatever weapon you'd like and you should be fine. Find one that fits your playstyle. So let's get into it. The Great Sword hits hard, low mobility, slow attacks, can slice off tails in a few hits. Defense is kind of decent, easy to pick up and play with. Next we got the Long Sword. The Long Sword, flashy and cool combos, can do massive damage if played correctly, has parry attacks, slicing attacks, average mobility, not too much defense, medium to hard difficulty in my opinion, not hard to just pick up, but mastery is an uphill battle. Sword and Shield. Hits don't do a ton, but you can get fast combos, keeps you very mobile, allows for blunt and slicing attacks, and allows for some defense with the shield, easy to pick up. Dual Blades. Rapid fire, free hits, and fast combos. Incredibly mobile, slicing attacks only, virtually no defense, but your mobility is your defense, easy to pick up and play with. Now we get into the Hammer. Hits hard, but slow attacks. Blunt weapon, good for breaking horns. Tough skin, armored body parts, right? Mobility is better than the Greatsword, but still not necessarily the best. The sliding attacks on these are an absolute banger. Defense is decent, easy to pick up. Hunting Horn. Similar to the hammer in most aspects, it just doesn't hit as hard. Now the horn part. It plays music to give buffs to yourself as well as teammates. In my opinion, it's the least single player friendly weapon, honestly medium to hard difficulty. Lance, as well as the Gun Lance. The Lance, piercing attacks, blunt and slicing, can hit hard, low mobility, but high defense, easy to pick up, but not for everyone because of the highly defensive playstyle. Gun Lance, everything is the same as the Lance, except it sacrifices more mobility by putting a gun, or what is shells, in the Lance, allows you to use explosions to deal damage. It can deal extremely high damage, but it's way more defensive and even more or less mobile than the Lance, medium difficulty. Switch Axe does a lot of damage, slicing and blunt attacks, switch between the axe and the sword. So it's an axe and a sword in one. The sword is much like a great sword. Mobility is low, like I said, similar to the great sword slash the hammer. Very okay defense, medium difficulty, but I also think you can bump that up to hard if you'd like. Charge Blade, my personal favorite weapon in the game. Like a bigger sword and shield, at the more damage at the cost of less mobility. The damage is very high. Slicing and blunt attacks, you can actually combine the sword and the shield into an axe-like Charge Blade. Average mobility, it's better when you're not in the Charge Blade axe-type mode. Medium difficulty. Alright, Insect Glaive can do a good amount of consistent damage. Extremely mobile. You jump around a lot and swing the weapon, so mounting, which we'll get into, makes it easier. Slicing attacks, low defense. Again, mobility is defense in this situation. Hard in my opinion, because I could never get into it. Like, I don't know, I tried it once and it just didn't jive with me, but I may be biased about that, so take that with a grain of salt. Alright, getting into, I believe now we'll get into the regular bow. Bow, good consistent damage. Knockdowns, really good. A good mobility so you can dash around a lot. Piercing attacks, both slicing and blunt attacks. Defense is easy to medium difficulty. The light bow gun, I believe which is the... Oh, this is the light bowgun, excuse me, sorry about that. Very good consistent damage. There's a wide array of damage types available, specific on the ammo types. Average mobility, defense is medium to hard difficulty because of all the different ammo types. Heavy bowgun, even better with consistent damage. Pretty much everything is similar to the light bowgun, but it sacrifices more mobility for even higher damage. Defense is still medium to hard difficulty. So yeah, those are all of the weapons. Now, when it gets to armor here, so getting into armor. In short, armor is made the exact same way that weapons are made, by harvesting or acquiring materials from monsters you hunt. However, armor is different in that it comes in 5 different pieces, and it just goes on your body and primarily provides defensive capabilities, although also offensive ones. Each piece also has its own set of skills. Armor stats will reflect the monster it's made out of by design, stats and armor skills. And speaking of armor skills are essentially what we call armor passives. So essentially there are a ton of different ones throughout the game. As you can see, we do have hunger resistance on this, on all of the gear. So we have hunger resistance level 1 on everything. So we'll get into those later. We'll talk about them. We'll briefly address them. So yeah, because these do become very important though. You can upgrade your armor throughout the game with what we call armor spheres, but that will be addressed later. You can also augment armor just like weapons, but that will also be addressed much later because that doesn't come until late in the game. The other major difference with armor is how the stats work. Let's get into the armor here. Each piece has a base defense, and which is just defense against physical attacks. Each piece also generally has elemental resistance. So you can see we have a resistance against fire here. Positive numbers indicate elemental resistance. Negative ones obviously indicate a disadvantage. 20 points total in any elemental resistance indicates you will not be affected by a said elemental blight. So for example, 20 total fire resistance means I can't be set on fire, and we'll get into those statuses as we encounter them. Now, most monster attacks that you'd think are purely elemental, such as blowing fireballs, are not just strictly elemental. They have a physical damage aspect. Some monsters are exceptions, but that's few and far in between. Not getting into the math, but long story short, the physical damage element is calculated before the elemental. The main reason you want 20 elemental resistance is to prevent a certain blight from affecting you. Other than that, physical defense is more important. In addition, getting a full set of armor from the same set, such as getting a full set of one monster's armor, will yield a set bonus, which provides certain buffs indicative of the monster it's made out of. Thus, a majority of the time, I feel full sets of armor are better than mixed sets of armor. Although you can certainly make mixed sets work, you'll just have to think quite harder, and again, we'll get into that later. Armor skills are what you see, like I said, highlighted here. There's a rather large number of them, thus because there are so many to list, I'll defer to the wiki page I've used for many years. They provide a great list of all the skills, what they do, and even the set bonuses are listed there for the certain armors. Go check this out at the link below. Beware, however, you may get spoiled for monsters by looking at the set bonuses, so click the link at your own risk. Palicos also have armor and weapons very similar to the hunters. Usually, as long as the armor is up to the current level that your hunter is at, you should be fine. Rule of thumb, have a paralysis or sleep weapon on your Palico. You never know when they can get a sleep or paralysis in an important fight. Usually happens once or twice a hunt. So, I know there's a lot that I said there. We'll really get into this as we get into it. But choosing a weapon to be comfortable for the time being, let's go with the... actually, I'll do with the longsword. Let's do the longsword for now. So very, very cool stuff there.
Want to get going?
I know this looks like some old closet that we...
I'll be there waiting with a quest.
I know this looks...
More familiar with your weapons at the training area. Just talk to the housekeeper to get started.
That's what I was going to say. But I know that this looks like some old closet that we turned into a makeshift room for you new hunters. But that's not the case. I promise. It's fully furnished with everything Meowster needs. You have your very own equipment box where you can manage and change your gear. I just hope you don't mind changing in front of others because you have roommates. Didn't they tell you about that? No? Okay. Moving on, your room also becomes an area to manage your Palico's gear right next to your bed, even convenient, right? Oh, and one more thing. If you need access to the training area, just come talk to me. I'm here to lend a paw 24/7. I'm here to please. Now what does Meowster need? So let's head to the training area. Yes, you can change the handler's outfit because she is obviously your partner. There's DLC stuff, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to go to the training area. Actually, I might show that when I go back. But this is the training area. So as this said, you can strike various objects around the area. If you'd like to try different weapons, just head to the item box. Ammo and coding or different ammo is available to try out using them, or consumable items not deplete any stock you own, which is very, very nice. So you can exit the tutorial here. The features manage the training area. There's combos, objects. Yeah, this stuff I don't really think is all that necessary. Now this is a big topic of discussion, is the clutch claw. So there's a lot of discussion around this. I will get into it when we actually really get into maybe fighting a monster, but I guess that it's kind of here. I'll sort of briefly explain. You can essentially grapple onto monsters, and you can also tenderize them and essentially what we call wall banging them by using this thing called slinger ammo, which is called the flint shot, and you can just drop down from the monster whenever you do this. This is different from mounting. Again, we'll get into that when we're able to fight a larger monster that requires mounting. But yeah, there's a lot to discuss with this, but I'm not really going to get into that argument for, you know, whether the Clutch Claw ruined Monster Hunter World or anything like that in terms of its combat. That's a whole nother discussion that I am nowhere even near qualified to discuss. But yeah, so getting into it.
Let's run through the hunting basics. First, ready your weapon. That's a piercing pot, a powerful type of slinger ammo. That's able to pierce the thick shell of monsters. The long sword is a close-range weapon designed for cutting attacks. Gather your spirit to increase its power. You can use the slinger with your weapon drawn. Look for the perfect moment, then fire.
So, when it comes to basic combat, that's obviously the one thing that you can see is that basic combat, right? You can just hit things, right, with the Y and the B button if you're using a controller like me, as well as the other button, the right trigger here, and then you can use the right bumpers to sheathe your weapon. In addition, there's this thing called sharpening, which we'll get into here. So essentially, if I go to the items here, I can use X and B to scroll through them, and then what we have is a whetstone. So if you notice at the top, that's the sharpness bar that I'll highlight in the edit. And essentially, with this sharpness bar, what you want is it to be full, and you'll notice that the different levels of sharpness, so like I showed you, right, we have yellow sharpness here, it's yellow up there. If I attack long enough, you can see it goes down, right? And eventually, what you'll notice is it'll end up getting down if you attack long enough. I'm not going to do it here, but it'll get down to orange and then finally red, which means blunter and blunter and blunter as you go down, right? So you guys get that idea here. Now, each weapon has like a finisher move, and again, that's all. Just go ahead and look at Eric's weapon guides, and you guys will understand what I'm talking about when it comes to each weapon's finisher move that you use when a monster is what we call knocked down. But you can also do things, especially with the slinger ammo. When it comes to slinger ammo is just you have it on your left arm here, and you can shoot stuff essentially. So you can pick up like that piercing pod. You can also pick up the stone, right? So if I press B, I can pick up the stone, and then it'll also drop the slinger.
Great for getting a monster's attention or creating a distraction.
Yeah, so what he's saying is essentially if you shoot at the ground or if you shoot at things,
you can use the slinger to distract monsters.
Exactly what he said. You can essentially distract monsters by doing that. Like, you can get them to turn their heads or look the other way if you're trying to get behind them or something like that. In addition, you can shoot it at a monster's face or something like that to get their attention, to have them run over to you, to engage a fight or something like that. And also, that is what is used to send a monster into a wall, but again, we'll get into that. So there's also, like I said, sliding attacks. So whenever you're running up a hill, or down a hill, that's steep enough, you'll end up doing a slide. And then you have different attacks based on that. And again, we'll really dive into this once we get into an actual monster hunt. And then you also have jumping attacks. So if I jump off the ledge here, you can actually attack as you jump down, and those also do some hefty damage. So, without further ado, I think that's enough for like this training area and everything like that. Your room has been discussed. I talked about the slinger ammo and stuff, so I think it is about time for us to head out of our room and go to HQ. So you can actually return to your room or HQ. So actually, I know I said I'll show the handler's outfit, so I'll go and do that so you guys can take a look. So here, we'll talk to the Palico here, change the handler's outfit. So yeah, you do have a ton of different outfits you can buy. She has a Chun-Li one, which I think is really cool. And then you have a ton of different ones like for Halloween here. You do have one for winter. Where's the winter one? This is the winter one. You have one where she's dressed as a Palico. You have like some other cool ones. Yeah, again, to each their own, right? And then they're obviously DLC and purchasable. I haven't purchased them on this account. Well, not in this account, on this file, I believe. So I don't really have access to these. I have access to them on my main file. But yeah, so you can change your handler's outfit there. So you can claim the add-ons and bonuses there, but we're not going to do that quite right now. Now, there is a set of armor in here I'd like to address, and it's called the Defender Armor. We're not going to use it because I know a lot of people don't like it, and I personally also think it's kind of cheap. So we're going to go through the game sort of as intended without the cheap, really good armor. So let's head back out to HQ. Now they have access to the armory and provision stockpile. Grab what you need. And once you're done, go meet up with your handler in the canteen to sign up for a quest.
Handlers sort through the research commission's leads.
So in the next episode, we'll really dive. So the next episode, I love being interrupted. So the next episode, we'll really dive into getting into the intricacies of the whole of Astera, and I'll definitely talk about them. We'll also really address the smithy next time, but what I'd like to do is just go to what we call the canteen. So you use these bars right here to fast travel to certain areas in the trade yard. Otherwise, you can just walk. So walking around, you can see that it's very pretty. Everything is very gorgeous here. Again, we'll really get into it here later, in the next episode. So we'll talk about it there. But the one part I'd like to address before we end off today's episode, I know we didn't get into monster hunting, but I think that it's necessary to address before we get into anything, is the canteen. So Like it says here, eating meals can boost stats such as health and stamina and grant special food skills. Select the meal you want from the menu. The meal effects are shown in the center of the screen. Take a good look at each meal's effects to help you determine which will provide best benefits. Food skills of a probability of being activated. Fresh ingredients to raise that probability. So, yes, I know, handler. Getting into the canteen. Alright. So this is one of the most important aspects of the game. Meal effects end when any of the following happen. You complete a quest, you return from a quest. You can eat again after a short time, about 10 minutes. Don't forget to eat again after fainting. So, getting into the canteen, it's probably one of the most important aspects of the game. Basically, before going on any hunt, you're going to want to come here and eat a meal, as meals give you buffs. From attack defenses to defense increases, all the way up to elemental resistances and health and stamina increases. This is the very quick explanation. However, there are more intricacies to how this works. So I'll provide links to these 2 videos down below that explain the canteen in a way better than I could ever. The only things I will have left to say about the canteen is that to get all of the ingredients, so if we go to custom here, you can see that there's a lot of ingredients, and a lot of them are locked. Basically, there are a bunch of optional quests that you'll be getting throughout the game, given to you by the chef himself. So if we exit here, you'll see, you can walk right up to the chef and talk to him, right? You can walk right up and talk to him. So, if you want to access the full potential of what the canteen offers, or if you're a completionist, make sure to complete these missions as they become available to you so you're not stuck doing them all at once when you finish the main story of the game. Some of these quests require you to encounter Palico tribes called Grimalkynes in the different areas of the game and complete their side quests. These not only allow you to get all the ingredients in the canteen, but also unlock some pretty amazing items for your Palico, regardless of whether you want all the ingredients or not. These quests are still very worth your time to complete. I'll link some videos in the description for a guide on how to complete these Grimalkyne quests, but note that these will contain spoilers to an extent, so click at your own risk. In addition, to get some of these ingredients, it's all by chance. If you noticed, in the LP, we'll essentially get into this, that you'll be playing on your own. You'll see clusters of plants, mushrooms, cacti. Some of these will yield ingredients that you're missing by chance. You just have to get lucky. If you want an article detailing the locations of every single ingredient in the game, all the way up and through Iceborne, link down below. Now, despite all this, I have gone through the entire game 3 times just by eating what is known as the Chef's Choice meal, which isn't here, or whatever meal gave me the highest health and stamina increases. So it's not entirely necessary to learn the intricacies of the canteen for the main story, but if you want to min-max everything possible, the canteen is one of the best places to do it. And so with that, guys, I think that is where we are going to end off the first episode. I know this was extremely long, very cutscene ridden, very tutorial ridden, very just early game ridden, but it's what I could offer you guys. So in the next episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting into finally doing a monster hunting quest, and we'll get into a lot of other mechanics then. So expect these first few episodes to be sort of tutorial heavy, and then we'll really get into the nitty gritty of just having fun and just hunting monsters, building cool armor and cool weapons. So yeah. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Also follow me in the socials linked in the description below. And with that, guys, that ends the first episode of Monster Hunter World. And so I will see you back here for episode 2. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.
High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few